Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Radio W.O.R.K.S World. This is your host speaking. My name is Agata, and I'm a mentor of excellence and identifier of void, and I'll be your host today. Now, I have the privilege to be interviewing the one and only Viola. Welcome, darling.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, we are broadcasting live from London, and I'd like you to make yourself feel comfortable. You know, make a cup of tea if you need to. That's perfectly fine. And
I have air condition on because I'm in Cyprus. It's end of July in Cyprus, quite hot. So I'm good. I'm comfortable.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, before we go ahead with our heart-to-heart, soul-to-soul conversation, I'd like to know everyone who joined us this morning for this interview, that our conversations take place every Friday of each month at 10 a.m. in the morning UK time. So every Friday each month, 10 a.m. UK time. Anyone, and if you wish to join me live, please leave a message below. Connect with me through Facebook, or just go on www.agaflow.co.uk website and connect through there. So thank you so much for being patient with me, Viola.
Pleasure, darling. You know how much I like you. I like your work. I like your taste. And I was very happy to meet again in London last week or the week before, and get closer to you, get to know you better. I'm very happy with that.
Absolutely. I felt that was meant to be. That meeting was meant to be. So tell me, Viola, for those of you who do not know you, who is Viola? Give us a little bit of insight as to who you are.
Well, a human being with imperfection that make life as much as possible be extraordinary, and have learned how to get over many things, so to be able to enjoy every bit of it. And then I'm a woman that vibrate in my femininity. I have a program that I call the Feminine Capital Waves, and that program has two major pillars. One of them is the Feminine Capital Rhythm, that work with women in how to go back to their femininity, because I was one of them years ago when we enter into the work world of domain of male domain, and then we copy them, and then later we get trapped on it, you know, and then we think that dressing high heel or shorter skirt, or you know, even with all the respect for us, as you know, I love fashion, is like, but we become more harder, too much competitive, ruthless, rude, and especially what affected me a lot is, and what I can see through my 24 years of being psychotherapist with women, is the way how women get detached from themselves, and they cannot trust, and they cannot, like I have heard many women said, I trust nobody. I have many years that I cannot cry. And, you know, all this tension that women live in. So my duty, my purpose is to go around and in the world and have this program where I'm working with women to recover her major capital, which is her feminine capital, and go back to the light side of the feminine energy, and also get on the feminine, on the bright side of the masculine energy, because many women are in the shadow of the masculine energy, tough, ambition, cruel, rude, addicted, etc. And also the men are going too much into the shadow and the dark side of the feminine energy, dispersed, weak, ill, not making it, dependent, victimized, manipulative, etc. So my work is in this feminine capital wave, In one, we have the program working through holistic psychotherapy, breathwork, and image to break free from restraint. And the other pillar is the Feminine Capital Forum, which is a platform for speakers and panel speakers. And we go around the world and we talk about, for men and women, how is it to be in caring for equality? How is it to be peers? The beauty of being peers and doing things together to create a more sustainable world, a more sustainable society. So this is one of the products I have. And basically, I'm a psychotherapist. I'm a holistic coach. I work, a trainer, breathwork, since the early 90s. And then I also work, as you know, with image and color, because I want us to enhance our beauty and wear the color that suits us best. And especially be comfortable while we are beautiful. So this is what I do. And also I do business consultancy, and I do lectures in business, and also I go into business and I do like a review of what they are, what is their vision, what is their mission, if they are aligned with their values, if really they have defined what are their values, because the values, the core values, are the sustain of any organization, being a family, being a small organization, or being a big organization. And many times we have conflict because the definition of the value is different for two or more people. So my job also is go and understand that and clarify that and create together what is this definition of values for this group of people.
Now that's very interesting, and I'd like to ask you something that you've mentioned earlier about women not trusting. It's interesting that you say that there is more and more women who do not trust, not only themselves, but others too. Where do you think that comes from? Was there a moment in their life, or did they go through a, difficult experience, or what is it that makes a woman not trust?
I think it's a copied behavior from the dark side of the masculine energy. I think to be tense and to be just focused on the work and not to be able to share feeling and to be scared to show vulnerability. This is one of the things that the old style male energy is. Even it's not the new style, because nowadays many men open up, many men dare to be in public even when they are sweating, and they said, well, when I talk in public I sweat. Many men cries, many men show their emotion. It has been decades and decades the man working in himself to open, but there is still a group of women that captured that old style of the male way, and this is how they go on life. Unfortunately, because that harden them and that make them be very upset inside. And when you don't trust, and when you become so hard, it's very difficult, because the nature of the woman is empathy and is trusting. When I talk about trusting, I'm not saying, trust everybody. No, of course you are a wise person and you accumulate experience, and your intuition will tell you who to trust, who not. But not trusting anybody, this is very hard for your soul. Yes.
And would you agree that trusting yourself and others somehow is attached to your higher values? You mentioned values as well, but if you know your values, if you know what makes you tick, what makes you come alive, is there not trust somewhere embedded in that?
Yeah. But also there is, we're talking about women and men who they think they trust themselves, and they do develop certain trust in themselves, but they only trust themselves. Yeah, so they don't trust others. Therefore, we don't trust life when we don't trust others, because we only count with the self, and that's very hard. Of course, at the end of the day, it's me with me, of course. But how nice it is that I meet you and I trust you. And okay, if life show me the different, and if situation doesn't come good between us, then we move past, and we learn from the lesson and we continue. Then being harder and harder and not trusting. because also, you know, if for women, it has been very hard to achieve what they already achieved. And some women hold on it very strong because it has been very hard. So based on fear, then they get very defensive, yeah, overprotective about it. And this is what it brings the imbalance. So to be able to grow by the self, then you become overambitious, then the overambitious make you unbalanced. Anyway, all these things affect the discernment, affect the ability to discern, to know what is the way, and it make many women being rude, being hard, and being perceived as ruthless, where in reality they are not.
No.
They are scared in reality, and in that past they can lose members of their family, they can lose dear friends, they can lose a business, and they become harder because it's what we call it piled, the negative experience piled up and said, you see, I knew it, I should not have done that. So the idea is to break down those, you know, without being aligned with all the experience we have had, and with being empowered, and at the same time see what is the excess and let go that excess, and then we will be able to flow and to dance with life much easier.
I love that you mentioned the excess, because so far I haven't really heard anyone mentioning that it's the excess of things, accumulated experiences, feelings that we need to somehow look at and discern, like you said. And also I'd like to mention that when you said, when you don't trust others, you do not trust life. I think that's just a motto that I'm going to use today. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Because others are part of life.
Now, Viola, what events brought you to this stage of your life?
Yeah, well, many events. I had a lot of problems to trust in life. I lost my father when I was 3 years old. My mother was pregnant with my sister. Our life gets ups and downs. My mother was in a foreigner country for her. So after a year of my father, after some months, my sister was born, and then my sister was ill, and then my mother was a lot with her. Therefore, I also, from being an only child and spoiled and having mother and father, I lost both of them for a while. And then we changed country, new language, new status. It's interesting because we moved to Lebanon, and it was we need to learn how to speak Arabic and go to school and be an orphan. You know, I still remember. Oh, poor them! Those are the orphan. This is something. It was like stigma. It was also a country or a time that there were no divorces, like in your class. I think I was the only one who didn't have a father. You know, it was like a something on me that marked me deeply, apart from the pain and from the missing my father, and hard life, of course, because, you know, things get ups and down. And then after 8 years, situation in Lebanon was not good. It was, you know, many people would say it's going to get bad. And then we decided to emigrate, and then we went to Venezuela. My mother had a brother there, and then we become real immigrant, like poor, and I had to work at the age of 13. I had to stop schooling, and of course we had certain family support, but like you're not arriving to a place in a boat by yourself, but life is hard. And then, you know, I start working, but I was in love with books. This is what I say to Marina always, that book saved my life. And I did homeschooling, and I supervised myself. And then until like 3 or 4 years later, 3 years later, I find a school, because in that time it was a drama, Agata, for a child to stop schooling, because we could not have high school at night if you are under 18. So people in my situation will really, there's many countries like this, and this is one of my wish to create an educational system for children that for any reason has to interrupt their school, you know, maybe because of illness or maybe because what is the program for them? But in that, we're talking about early 70s.
Yeah.
And with very few economic support. Anyway, I managed, and then I find a way to go back to school with a little bit trick, putting my age a little bit higher and things, and go back to school. But then I kept going into non-formal education, and I always wanted to be a psychologist, always. But again, here life had a challenge for me, because in Caracas, there were only one university who will give psychology at night. And I will not get it, you know, for 6 years, I will apply. I will get other things that I didn't apply. So in that time, I would always study. I will always do courses. I think I'm one of the pioneers of the self-development, 70s, 80s. And then meanwhile, I was ascending in my jobs, and from shoe store to hairdressing, to telephonist, to secretary, to embassy secretary, to public relation. And the last 10 years, I was in management in an insurance company, always with this psychology in my heart. But by then I thought, well, it's gone. It's not possible. And I was like in my 30, the day I was 30, after many years of doing group and little therapy here and there, I engage in my therapeutical process and become a patient in psychoanalysis for the next 4 years, and kind of shake myself and get into, you know, into not going out from that stage of being survival, fighting, getting depressed, where many people live ups and down, ups and down. And then I met meditation, and then I met breathwork. And that brought the light to my life, and managed to have the strength to let go of my job as a manager in an insurance company after 21 years of hard work. And, you know, in that time, we would have the credit card of the company. We will have so many advantages. So it would be very scary to let all that go. But I always have had angels around me, and I had an angel. Good, whatever you decide to do, I'll support you. And I remember she took her checkbooks and made me a check. And she said, I know you're going to tell me you don't need it, but I just want you to keep it in case you need it, you know? And that was so interesting, because it's like, you know, very beautiful. And then I went and retrained in the United States as a breath worker and coach in early 90s. And I remember I didn't have the money, so I negotiate my tuition, and the creator of Rebirthing Breathwork, one of them, Leonard Orr, looked at me and he told me, you're good. And of course, you're going to pay later. You know, God knows how many people you're going to bring me. And they gave me credit. And also, I remember waking up earlier and pay part of my training cooking for everybody, because by then I was vegetarian cook, learned from my mom, and did my training and come back to Venezuela, Agata. And it was like miracle, because it was like I was at the correct place with the perfect subject in the very adequate time. Mm-hmm. It was about 3 months to 6 months. Then I was in newspaper, on TV, on radio, like a boom, you know. And I remember I changed my job in July. By the next March, I get a check during March that was the whole salary of the last year. In that, I had it for many years. I misplaced it now when I moved. So it was very beautiful, joy. Kept learning. I spent more than 50% of what I make in more and more development. As you know, when we are self-educated, we have a lot of responsibility to keep our level up, because we only back ourselves. We don't have the diploma, we don't have the association to back us up. and took that breath work to South America, to Central America. I worked in North America, and then I started going to Europe. And I remember doing a vision when I start, and by 9 years, when I review that vision, I get everything and more. And the more was that I met my darling husband in one of those trips in Congress of Breathwork and Therapy in Spain in 1999, and then we did 4 years of distant relationship. And meanwhile, I produce a very beautiful, with my sister and now my husband, event for 203 people from 30 different countries, a 7 days event for breathwork therapy, sponsored by International Breathwork Foundation. And that was my gift to Venezuela before I left. And then I moved with him to Cyprus, because Michael is British, but he was born in Cyprus, and he had that dream to come back here. And I thought it would be very humbling for me to follow the man. Why not? I know how to work, but I don't know about relationship. I was 43, 44. And then again, we didn't know anybody here, and I had to start again and stop my international work and start slowly. As you know, the work of therapy and coaching is a work of trust. And when you come to a community that you don't speak the language and they don't know you, and even the concept of psychotherapy and coaching by then was like, what? So slowly, it took me 7 years to do so. It took me 7 years and another 7 to really make it solid. And my friend said, now, if I propose to be part of the parliament, I will win.
I love that. May I please ask you briefly, Viola, tell me, what is a breath work? Just briefly. What does it entail to be professional in that field?
Yes. You know, the ability to breathe, breath is the connection with life. Mm-hmm. It's the first thing we do when we come out, and it's the last thing we do in life. So breath always will represent life. Now, as we grow, we start having encounter with limiting emotion. And the child, when start being scared, angry, frustrated, usually they hold their breath. An angry child hold his breath. A scared child usually don't breathe, yeah? So we learn how to kind of limit our breathing, and because it's a function that is there, we grow, we have bad posture, we smoke, we eat badly, we are in a hurry, and then here we are with very limited capacity of breathing, of oxygenating our brain. Therefore, we have limited capacity to decide, to see the world, and to live, because if breath is life and I breathe 20% of my capacity, I'm living 20% of my capacity. Imagine. So there is different methodology for breath work. The one I work, that the beginning of it used to be named conscious connected breathing, and also has the name of rebirthing. It's about how to exercise connected and active breathing to give to the body an over ventilation for a body that has been subventilated for a long time. So basically, the first need that we do this is to nurture the body for the nutrient that the body is most longing for. The second bonus is that when the body starts relaxing through the breathing and getting nurtured, the mind starts stopping the that we are all the time. So slowly, there is space between one thought and another, and also the mind will get certain relaxation. And we get in connection with our intuition and with those space that we can then look around and see. And during that process, when I'm breathing and body is getting nutrient and the mind is calming down, emotions feel safe to give me some information that I'm ready to deal with. That information will be positive, about a quality, about a joy that I'm holding in my body, Oh, that information could be about something clogged or stuck, and it needs to release. Yeah. So we call it a holistic therapy because body, mind, and emotion are working at the same time. And you know, how is it? Then the meaning of life get more clear. Then spirit is enjoyed. So the breathing, conscious connected breathing session is around 1 hour, between 40 minutes and 1 hour, in a rhythm of breath that is a little bit faster than the normal. Connecting inhale with exhale. Let's all of us, we do it. Let's do 4 of those. And now we do a long one. For example, I used to be a smoker, a chain smoker. And you know, smokers are the people who breathe more, but the wrong air. And so, for example, when you're smokers, when you know, we're happy, we want to smoke. We're upset, we want to smoke. We're anxious, we want to smoke. So when you learn how to breathe, instead of taking the cigarette and take the breath, because what you need is to breathe, that also helped a lot with it. So we work with it with stop smoking. We work with it to balance our energy. I work with it therapeutically, accompanying the psychotherapy. We work with it with drug addiction, because you can achieve certain altered state of consciousness just with your breathing. It's a wonderful, it's the healthier, cheapest, most autonomous therapy we can ever have, because it's you and your breath. And the idea is that you do 10-12 sessions with a breath worker, and later you take it home and you practice it yourself for yourself. So I'm training for people to be able to be breath workers for others also.
Wow, that's incredible. I never knew that.
We should do one of those when I come to London. Let's
yes,
organize. Yes.
And tell us one more thing, Viola. What is evolving in your life at the very moment? Tell us the news, what it is that you're preparing, planning.
Yeah. So last year, I asked my husband, "How's our relationship, darling? Is it solid enough?" He said, "Yes, I'm happy." I said, "Are you totally happy?" "Yes." And we have managed, because you know, I couldn't stay in a relationship before. So for me, it has been a challenge to stay, to go over many things. And he said, "What you're thinking?" And I said, "My wings are itching. If I'm gonna go back to international, it's good to do it now, because I'm in my late 50s, still energetic." And then I decided last year to start international again, and I went to London and to Amsterdam and to Miami and to New York and to where else I went? To Denmark, and you know, seeing, and I have in my heart the wish to work in Arabic with the Arabic women and Middle East. And what is evolving is that the international work is linking now together, because I have very beautiful alliances with different networks in the world. Because when I was in my 30s, I did it by myself, and now I had the wish to not to do it all by myself and get with other network and join them and support each other. So as you know, I'm in the network with Radio W.O.R.K.S and Marina Nani, and we support each other. And I have a radio program as yours, the Feminine Capital Rhythm. Also, I'm in a beautiful network with my friend Isaura Gonzalez, that she has Latina Mastermind. I'm in another network with an old client of mine that she became one of my dearest friends, and she has Mujer Wow, it's also in Spanish, Woman Wow. She had a whole beautiful infrastructure. And then with Veronica Sosa, that she has two platform. One is her magazine, Business Fit, and the other one is She, which another infrastructure in Spanish. And I have my platform of the Feminine Capital that's going around the world. Also, I'm a consultant of House of Color. So I'm like, I belong to different foundation and association. Like I'm a very active part of the International Breathwork Foundation. Every year there's 7 days conference, and this year I'm one of the key speakers outside Vienna. I'm active in another network, which is the positive psychotherapy. I didn't tell you that later in life I did some masters without having the first title. I go and beg them and tell them, please let me be in, let me study, and you don't have to certify me. So one of them is the positive psychotherapy, which is great. I'm part of International Rebirth, and now very active with All Ladies Leagues and Women Economic Forum that we will have, and I hope you can come, the first WEF in Cyprus in 13, 14, 15 October. So I'm very active, giving service to some network, working for myself, making alliances with others, and this is what is evolving for me. Of course, when I go into a life like this, sometimes it doesn't work very well, because maybe with some people I could not be so expansive, yeah. But I like to be expansive. I'm a very I feel I have integrity, and I'm loyal, and I manage how to be in those different networks and help them also to expand. So of course, sometimes there's ups and downs in life. I'm evolving is over the event of life that in the past will get me and will kind of lock me, and now I observe them, I cry them, I go through them. I really am experiencing what is the difference, and this is something I teach, between breaking down because an event happened, or breaking through because my wounds are already closed and I have scars, and something come over that scars that, you know, I can observe it, work with it, and go through it. One of those events is my mom passed away last year, and mom is mom and dad. So it was like really a tough one, but also it's like me and my sister, I think we honor her every day in the way how we are. She was a very relational being too. I think we are like her, relational connectors, hardworking, very grateful. So when I go into the missing and to the grieving, I just remember who she is and how she gave us that modeling, and, you know, and right up. And it has been a tough year for me after my mom passed away. And of course, also, it's like this central figure live life, and it's like sometimes you can't believe it, but this is life. And there is other loss around, other things like, you know, my country is in a not very nice situation, Venezuela, but you know, Agata, my evolving is to evolve and to keep connected with my purpose and with whatever I have to do every day, serving as much as I can without being stopped by those events. So this is what I'm learning. I use therapy and breathwork as much as I can. My sister is a therapist breathworker, my husband too. And I just been in London and had an amazing session with my new friend, Barbara Xavier, and, you know, always clearing. And then going next Tuesday to Chicago. For that, it was complicated, our interview. I'm gonna be doing some work with my friend Isaura there for Latinos and for English speaking. And then going to Vienna, and then coming back, and then going back to London for an event, and, you know, being at home, honoring what we establish, Michael and I, and at the same time give that fly high and wide as much as I can, to first to learn, always to learn, and also to give back what life gave me, which is my communication and my qualities and my capacity to relate and serve others through my teaching.
And what a blessing it is to know you, a woman who encompasses all these things that you've just mentioned. It's just such a good, it's a good feeling, it's a privilege, and it's an honor. Now, may I please ask you to share your website or any items that you'd like people to know so they can get in touch with you?
Yes, sure. Pleasure. Thank you. So my website is www.violaedward.com. Edward doesn't have an S. And I have the www.femininecapital.com. My email is info@violaedward.com, and you will find me on Facebook, and you will find me, I guess you will Google me and find me, I hope. And if not, through Agata, you write to her and she will connect me. And be in tune with us in Radio W.O.R.K.S, because we're doing a lot of events. I'm preparing myself and my people to come to the beginning of October, because we have the big one then.
Yeah.
And very grateful for this infrastructure that's helping so many people to express themselves and to write their books and to be on stage, and very happy to be in this network and to have met you. Thank you so much for this space.
Thank you. And once again, I'd like to say a massive thank you for being here, for joining me, and for sharing all these precious moments, precious experiences of your life with all of us here who are listening, joining us from all over the world. So thank you once again, Viola. I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.
Bye-bye, darling.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.